Hi guys, welcome to Recreational Shooting and Hunting. Today's going to be a quick video on two modifications made to the Sentry. For those of you who saw my first impressions video, would have remembered I had a problem with the height of the cheek rest and I weren't feeling comfortable on the rifle having the cheek rest so low. If you haven't seen that video, you might want to go and have a look at that. So I went to a good buddy of mine, Regulator. He's very good on a lathe. He just grabbed some mild steel and he actually made me two new pillars for the cheek rest. I can't remember what the original length of them were, but these new ones are now 115 millimeters long. Same hole position from the bottom of the pillar, tapped to the same threaded hole, and that's why I can use the same original factory bolts to attach it, but now it's at a very nice height and it works perfectly. Now let's get to the modification, which actually took some thinking and some time to sort out. So I made contact with Mark at Huma-Air in the Netherlands. Now, since I'm from South Africa, I had to be sure that when I received this product, which according to my knowledge, no one currently imports the regulators for this rifle to South Africa. So I've spoken to Mark, and I think between me and him, we were almost at about 30 emails in the course of a week or two, trying to figure out how to fit this regulator and would we be able to work. Now, they already had a regulator for the original Sentries, the 702s. I believe the 702 is the correct model. But on the 705, there's now a burst disc in the air tube to actually prevent the air tube from being filled over 3000 psi as a safety. Now, this burst disc weren't in the original 702s, and the regulator could have been fitted very easily, just pushed in up to the valve and it was done. But now we have this open space between the valve head and the burst disc sleeve, and then we can only fit the regulator in front muzzle side of this burst disc sleeve. Now, Huma's regulator is too large to fit between the two, so it had to be fitted muzzle side of that sleeve. So I sent this diagram to Mark, we had a chat about it, and we figured the only way to really get this to work is going to prevent the burst disc from being pushed into this empty space, because now you have to remember, on the muzzle side of the regulator, it's going to be 210 bar. But the regulator might be regulated, and I'm currently using it at about 155, 157 bar. It's lower pressure on this side. So the pressure, the high pressure in front of the regulator is always going to try and push that regulator into the low pressure side. And to prevent that, meaning to prevent this burst disc to be pushed into this empty space, we need to fill that void. So again, back to my buddy Regulator and his lathe, and he just quickly made me this little spacer. Now this spacer dimension is exactly 35 millimeters long and 25.5 millimeters in outer diameter. The inside of the air tube is actually 25.7 millimeters, so it fits nice and loose. It's easy to get it to where it's supposed to be. Now, due to the fact that Huma's regulator needs to be able to reach or be in contact with atmospheric pressure, if I'm using the correct terms here, there's a little breather hole on the regulator, and atmospheric pressure needs to be able to get to that hole to let this regulator function properly. So I had to remove O-ring labeled A on my diagram to let air be able to pass by the hole at the burst disc to this little breather hole at the regulator. Now I can tell you, I went to the range today, I shot this rifle, I took an 8-shot magazine on power setting 3, which is where I got the best accuracy with the Hades 15.89 grains, and this is the results at this moment. So it's about 740 feet per second on average, with an extreme spread of 10 feet per second. It's a very nice 8-shot string. I'm extremely happy. If I think of where my deviations were before the regulator, it truly works and it's serving its purpose. Now, I haven't tested my shot count, which I get from a full fill up until where we go off the regulator. We'll test that in the near future as well. Just a last mention before signing off this video. If you own one of these rifles or you want to own one of these rifles, get yourself one of these made. Once again, my buddy Renier quickly made this. Now, why do I need this tool? Right, so the burst disc sleeve is threaded on the muzzle side, and it's an M20 bolt. The thread for an M20 bolt. So we have an M20 bolt here just welded on this side of the pipe, and what you're able to do now is after you depressurize and empty out the rifle, if you don't know how to disassemble a rifle, there's videos on YouTube on that as well, but after you disassemble the rifle and you have the gauge assembly screwed out from the air tube, you will be able to see your burst disc, the adapter for the burst disc or burst disc sleeve, I like to call it, down there in the air tube. Now you now have access to that thread. So you just push this pipe into your air tube and you just tighten it onto this burst disc sleeve, and that will give you the ability to just pull it right out of the air tube. It just comes with the bolt. Now on the other side, I have a flat part here, which has, if it would have been a flathead screwdriver, it would have been 2 millimeter thick. And the reason I have this is the valve head has a slot for this 2 mil, let's call it a screwdriver head. So you just flip it around. This then goes in and you can then loosen the valve head. Now, why do we need to loosen the valve head? This rifle's design, I'm not sure if other PCPs has the same design, it has an O-ring on the valve body, the valve assembly. But this O-ring is pushed out by the valve head being tightened onto it. So it presses it into this air tube to seal it off completely. You need to loosen that valve head. I just use the same bolt side here, and you just push it from the breech side all the way to the muzzle, nice and slowly, it just comes out the other end. So yeah, very simple tool, but it's a must-have. It really changes your the way you can work with this rifle and really easily get stuff done. Guys, thanks for watching the video. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and please give me your comments down below. Thanks for watching.